When one's been with an organization a long time, you end up being the group historian, and that's the role that I'm in this evening. But there's some interesting things in the founding of the Austin Project that makes this organization different from all the others in Austin. And I thought you all would be interested in some of the thinking of Walt and Elspeth Rostow when they launched the organization 20 years ago. Walt and Elspeth looked across the Austin scene, and what they found was a lot of very dedicated social service organizations that were working hard on dealing with some fairly intractable problems. What they felt was missing was an organization that would look for problems that weren't being addressed and try to come up with some creative solutions and the resources to implement those solutions. And that's been the basic philosophy under which the Austin Project has been working for 2 decades. A couple of examples may help to illustrate this. In about 2000, there was a great deal of concern in Austin and throughout the country that children were showing up for kindergarten totally unprepared to learn. And so the federal government launched an Early Learning Opportunities Act, which was intended to provide some funding for preschool education. Our executive director at the time formed a coalition of about 10 organizations in Austin and applied for a grant under the Early Learning Opportunities Act. We were successful, got a grant for $1 million, and did a lot of work trying to help young families, and particularly young mothers, understand the importance of talking to their children and reading to their children at a very early age. This work was very well received. Many of the parents said, "Gee, we didn't really know that this was important. Thank you for letting us know. We will start doing exactly that." At the end of the year, the Capital Area United Way received a great distinction from their national organization. They were designated a Success by 6 site, which carried at that time a great deal of prestige, but not very much cash. So they applied for another grant under the Early Learning Opportunities Act, and surprisingly enough, were successful in getting another $1 million grant. That's unusual because usually you only get one bite out of the federal apple and you're expected to carry on after that. But it does say that they must have been very pleased in Washington with the good work done by the Austin Project with the first $1 million grant. At the end of that grant, the United Way took over the program with our consent and encouragement, hired 3 of our people that are now active in the Success by 6 program, and so that has continued to be a permanent part of the Austin landscape. Another example is the Youth and Family Assessment Center. When a number of middle schools were faced with serious discipline problems with typically middle school boys that were just more than the school could handle, they were looking for another solution. They didn't want to send these young men to the criminal justice system, figuring that might make the situation worse. So the county and AISD and the Austin Project worked on developing a youth and family assessment center. What we did was hired several experts in this field to serve as assessors that worked with both the family and the student to try to figure out what were the root causes of some of the problems. One case I remember, the principal difficulty was that the mother had some very serious mental health problems. And when she got the appropriate counseling and assistance, her outlook improved and her son's behavior improved as well. So it's an illustration of how important it is to work with the entire family. It took about 3 years to get this program running smoothly, but at the end of that time, we were able to hand it off over a 2-year period to communities and schools, and that organization is continuing to run the YFAC to this day. So it's another example of something that was developed in conjunction with other community resources and is now a permanent part of the Austin landscape. I'd also like to mention how important this event is to the Austin Project. It enables us to cover a good part of our overhead, of our small staff, so that we can talk to potential funders in terms of all or nearly all of their money will go into program, not into overhead, and nobody likes to pay for overhead. So we'd like to thank you for your participation this evening. It's a very important activity for the Austin Project, enable us to serve a lot more families and young children than would otherwise be possible. Thank you.